Aloha, everyone, and welcome. Go ahead and kick back, relax. We'll go ahead and get started here in just a few minutes. Aloha, everyone. For those who are just joining us, we're going to be starting here in just a couple minutes. So go ahead, feel free to relax, kick back. We'll get started soon. If you guys have questions, I know we got a lot of really great questions ahead of time, but you guys are more than welcome to go ahead and start putting those questions in the Q&A. Just a reminder, we're going to be asking you guys to put those questions in the Q&A and avoid putting them in the chat. The chat we're going to go ahead and reserve for putting, I'm going to go ahead and assist with putting useful links in the chat. So any questions you've got, go ahead and put them in that Q&A. All right, aloha everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us on this afternoon. My name is Amber, I'm one of the admissions counselors, and I'm so excited for you all to join us and get to meet Garrett, who's also one of our admissions staff as well, one of our admissions officers. And so just a few reminders. I know I mentioned it earlier, but this is going to be a webinar style, which basically means we can all see you, but you cannot, or sorry, you can all see us. We cannot see you. So definitely if you guys have questions, I've seen some people already put some questions in the chat. Go ahead and make sure to put any questions that you guys have in the chat. We'll be happy to answer those questions. We are recording the session today too. So say if you have to jump out or if you'd like to rewatch it at any point, we are going to be putting it on our YouTube page later on. So definitely keep a lookout for that as well. We also will go ahead and send out an email afterwards with that recording too. So just I hope you guys enjoy the session today. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to Garrett.
Hey, hi, good afternoon to everyone, or good evening, wherever you guys are. My name is Garrett Inoue. I'm actually the Senior Assistant Director for Admissions. I do a lot of the application processing. I started off as an admissions officer also and as a recruiter. So I have many years of experience working with both freshmen and transfer students. This March 1st will actually be my 17th year in admissions. So looking forward to talking with all of you today.
Great, thanks so much, Garrett.
So should I just go through some of these questions or?
Yeah, so I was going to say, I think the biggest way to go ahead and kick it off is going to be, I think the biggest way is, how does the transfer process work? That's been a big question that we've been getting. So do you mind kind of explaining what the transfer process is like and like when the typical deadlines are?
Okay, so it's actually very simple. Student will go to our admissions website, click on the transfer application and apply through our own application on our website. Really, we're only looking for two things as far as admission requirements, 24 transferable credits and a 2.0 GPA if you're a resident of Hawaii, 2.5 GPA if you're a non-resident. And that's it. We actually have guaranteed admission. So as long as a student has the GPA and credit requirements that we're looking for, they're going to get accepted to UH Manoa. Now, just be aware that there are programs, select programs like engineering, education, nursing, business, that do have either a separate application process or separate admission requirements. Our office does do the front door admissions. So we do all the front door admissions. We take in your application, we look at it, make sure you're admissible to Manoa. If you are, then we'll send off your application to the respective department or major that you're interested in, and then they'll review it. So best case scenario, they say yes, then you're accepted into that major. Worst case scenario, even though if they say no, you're still accepted to UH Manoa as a pre-designation. So pre-business, pre-nursing, you're still allowed to come to Manoa, take courses, and work with those departments directly to try to get into their major in the next semester or year. So yeah, just because you're not accepted into the major doesn't mean you're not accepted to Manoa. You're still allowed because we're allowing, we do the front door admission. So those are the two things we're looking at. When you do apply, you can submit your unofficial transcripts, attaching it to your application. We can review your application for admissibility based off of unofficial transcripts, but in order for us to do an actual transfer credit evaluation, we would need official transcripts to come in from each of the colleges or institutions that you have attended. Right now, usually the time frame is about 4 to 6 weeks to receive a decision. It really depends on when your application is complete. So that's kind of the area where students get confused. They'll say, hey, I submitted an application back in November. How come I haven't heard from you? Well, a lot of things still need to happen. If you didn't submit a transcript, if you didn't pay your application fee, it's not considered a complete application. So your application is considered complete when we have all documents that we need to make a decision and application fee. And from there, it's about 4 to 6 weeks that we'll actually make a decision. After we do make a decision, we'll send out a email notification, whether it be accept or deny. If you're accepted and you have official transcripts into our office, right away we'll initiate a transfer credit evaluation of the courses. And then you'll get another email from our transfer credit section regards to what credits have transferred and how to look them up. So kind of in a nutshell, that's kind of how the application process works.
Great. Thanks so much, Garrett. Now, when is the current fall deadline if, say, students are still wanting to apply for this fall?
So January 5th was the priority, meaning if you have applied by January 5th, we would get you a decision in a timely manner so that you can still apply for services like financial aid, housing, things like that. Right now, we're in the final application period, which is March 1st. So again, the best thing to do is to get us a completed application as soon as possible. We do rolling admissions, so we work on applications as they come in. And so you can imagine the line gets longer and longer as it gets closer to the deadline. So the earlier you submit your application, the better chance you'll get a decision faster and in time so that you can utilize any of the services that we do offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, say if somebody wants to get started at Manoa as soon as possible, what would be the best approach at this time of the year?
So if you still haven't submitted an application and you're still kind of wavering on the fence about, applying, I don't want to spend a $70 application fee yet, we definitely tell students to do a couple things. Check out the major that you're interested in. Make sure that they're offering admittance to the major at that term. There are a few majors that only offer admittance in the fall. So just be aware of those kind of things. Then definitely utilize our transfer credit database. The transfer credit database is a listing of every single course that we've ever come in contact with from any institution across the whole world. So if you actually go to that transfer credit website, type in the institution that you're transferring from, it'll list for you all the courses we've ever transferred from that institution. So it gives you kind of a idea of what are the courses that will transfer if you do decide to apply and get accepted to us. That can kind of give you a better idea of what are my chances of getting accepted in terms of also how much longer would it take for me to graduate from UH Manoa. And then also just kind of looking at each of the majors' websites and maybe even reaching out to the academic advisors. From my experience, we all know that transfer students, you want to get in with the most credits and get out as fast as possible. So, the most important people to talk to after admissions would probably be the academic advisors. And getting to make sure that the courses that you're taking at your current institution will apply to the current major that you want to go into at UH Manoa.
Thanks so much. Now, if say students are wanting to transfer for the springtime, when can they expect the application to open? When should they expect for it to close around, give or take?
So yeah, we actually are, not a lot of colleges do this, but we do admit for both fall and spring. Our spring window is a little bit shorter, so the application will go up probably sometime this summer. Just be on the lookout on our website again. When you go to our website and click on the transfer application, when the spring application for 2022 is available, you'll have a drop down and choose between fall 2021 and spring 2022. That application will run through probably October. September 1st is our priority deadline for spring applications, and October 1st is our final deadline for spring applications. So there is a smaller window for spring applications just because there's a shorter turnaround time, because from the time fall ends in December, spring starts off in January. So, we kind of have that window a little bit smaller because we need to make sure that we get all your documents, process your application in time to give you a decision so that you can make that jump to UH Manoa.
Now, are transfer students allowed to transfer during the summer session, or is it just during the fall and spring semesters?
Yes, just during the fall and spring. So our office only does fall and spring. We do have a summer term, but that's handled through our outreach college, and that's not a term that they can get admitted as a classified student. So to apply for a classified standing, you would have to only apply through fall or spring semester.
Perfect. Now, kind of talking a little bit more about the actual application and such. I know you kind of mentioned it earlier, but will an application be immediately denied because something is missing, or will we let the student know ahead of time?
Yeah, so the process we do is once an application is submitted online, it actually gets pushed into our computer system the next day. It will take us a little while to rectify any application fee, things like that. When we look at your application, we'll make sure that we have all the information we need. If you attached any unofficial transcripts, we'll see that they're attached there. If you submitted it through any of the electronic systems like DocuFile or Parchment, we merge your file with those documents. When we review it and see, yes, all the courses, all the institutions that you listed on your applications we have those transcripts on file, then we can send it off for review. If something is missing or we see something, and this happens a lot, is that a student forgets to let us know that they attended an institution. Maybe they attended 2 institutions, but they only said that they attended 1. We look at that transcript and we see, oh, that transcript says that you also attended someplace else, that you have transfer credits from another institution. Then we send what we call a lack letter. So anytime we're missing any information for us to make a decision, we will email you asking you that we need X, Y, and Z in order for your application to be complete. Once we get X, Y, and Z, then the cycle starts again, and we'll put that application back into the review process, and then it can get reviewed for an admissions decision.
Yeah, perfect. And then also, say if somebody makes a mistake on the actual application itself. I know this happens pretty much all the time, we're all human, we get it. So what would happen if they accidentally made a mistake, say for example, they put the incorrect number of units that they've completed thus far, and then they need it to be updated? What would be the best way to approach that?
Yeah, so once you actually click submit and the application is sent, there's no way for you to access the application again. And so the best thing to do is just send an email to our Office of Admission saying, hey, I mistakenly put something. What we do is then we'll merge that email with your file and make the necessary adjustments to your file at that time.
That's so good to know. So students, we'll go ahead and put that email for our Manoa admissions in the chat. So definitely if you guys need to correct anything, just let us know. We are happy to assist. Now, another big question I often get is really about the transcripts of approximately when to send it. So kind of giving a few different examples. So the first example is, say if a student just recently got accepted, they only have through their, like say if they applied in fall, they were just accepted in the past, spring, sometime in spring semester they're accepted. and we have their official up until summer of 2020. Do they need to send us in their fall semester right away, or should they wait until the end of the spring semester to go ahead and submit that final transcript?
Yeah, so that's actually a good question. We get that a lot. It's really up to the student, and I'll give kind of the pros and cons for both. So if we have an official transcript and we only have up to, let's say, summer classes, you can submit a fall transcript that has all your fall classes. And then we'll do a transfer credit evaluation of those fall classes. And then you can also then send us the spring one once that class is complete. And then we'll do what we call a supplemental evaluation and then just transfer in those spring classes. That's the pro. You'll get you'll know ahead of time how courses are transferring and things like that. The con is that you would be paying 2 transcript fees. And so, if you can afford it, that would be the best way. The other option too is that if you decide to just wait until after the spring grades are done, then you would only pay 1 transcript fee. But the con to that is that you wouldn't get any of the transfer credits put into your academic history here at UH, which sometimes may be difficult when you're trying to register for classes, because our prerequisite checking wouldn't know that you've taken a class already because we haven't transferred it in. So if I say money's not an object, a problem, I would submit as many transcripts as you can so that you can get the most updated transcript evaluation done. That also does help the advisors in giving you a much better outlook on what are the courses that you should be registering for. Nowadays, transcripts are not that expensive, and the good thing about them, they're all coming electronically, so they get to us within 2 to 3 days, whereas in the past, snail mail was like a week. So getting the transcripts a lot faster. So if you can afford it, I would send in transcripts every semester until you finally transfer to us.
Yeah, I really cannot emphasize that enough. I get that question almost every day of, when do I send it in? I'm like, just keep sending it. And students, I know that there are some specific colleges, especially the ones on the mainland, that may not send it electronically. They can only send it snail mail. So if that's the situation, just be sure to let us know. I mean, you don't have to tell us exactly. We'll always keep an eye out for it. But if we tell you, hey, you're missing this, you can always just send us an email saying like, hey, yes, I acknowledge that it's missing. It's currently on its way. So that way we know that it's currently in progress. It's not just kind of sitting there. So it gives us a heads up. For the transcript fees, I know it kind of depends on the university. So it's not through us, it's going to be through your university. So definitely be sure to check with your registrar's office at your current college or university. Now, this is always a really good question as well that often comes up is, do transfer students need to submit their high school transcripts? So what are the situations where they would, and when would they not need to?
Okay, so yeah, like I said, we have guaranteed admission. So if you have 24, and I emphasize transferable credits, so courses that we're going to count at UH Manoa and have the GPA requirement, then we're not going to look for anything in high school. The only time we would send you that lack letter or ask you to submit any other high school information would be if you do not meet the 24 transferable credits. So if you have a 3.0, but you only have, when we calculate 12 credits taken, like let's say you only went to 1 semester at a college and you stopped out, you got 3.0, at that point we would ask you to send your high school transcript and or maybe test scores depending on the situation. So that's the only time we would ever ask for high school thing, is to supplement your transfer work, because your transfer work does not meet our minimum guaranteed transfer admission requirement.
Yeah, I think that the big thing with that is, say if you guys were a high school class of 2019 or 2020, and you guys have just done like between a semester or a year and you're not 100% sure, when in doubt, if you guys have an unofficial high school transcript, always just add it to the application. More information is always better than not. And then if you guys meet the 24 transferable credits, honestly, I will just kind of skip past the high school transcript, but if you don't, that's when we'll take a look at it. So if you want the fastest, most efficient way to get processed, that's definitely more information is better. So another great question that I see is, I know going back to transcripts again, is should we submit the official transcripts or like right away, or should we wait till we've been admitted? I know you kind of touched on that, but if you could repeat that again.
Yeah, so we can make a decision off of your unofficial transcript, so you would get a decision. But like I said, we would never initiate a actual transfer credit evaluation unless all transcripts are in. So there are a lot of times where students will upload two unofficial transcripts, and then they'll submit one official transcript from one institution. We still will not be able to do an official transfer evaluation. All transcripts have to be official in order for us to actually initiate a transfer evaluation. So best case scenario would be to, if you want the fastest decision, yes, to upload whatever unofficial one you can. And then in the meantime, while that's getting reviewed, having official ones sent at the same time. So that would probably be the best option. If you don't upload anything and you want to send in official, then the review process kind of stops because now we don't have anything to review, so we got to wait for the official ones. So upload an unofficial with official ones on the way is probably the best scenario to get reviewed in a timely manner. And then if accepted, you're going to get a TCE transfer credit evaluation done in a timely manner.
Okay, thank you. Now, for the local students or for students who are currently attending any of the UH systems who are planning to transfer to us, do they officially need to submit a transcript as well, or are we able to pull their records?
So the only time if you're coming and transferring from a UH system school is if you're transferring courses from another non-UH system. So if you're only taken courses within the UH system, let's say you've only gone to UH Hilo, UH West Oahu, or any of the community colleges, you do not need to submit any transcripts to us. Everything within the UH system, we can pull from the STAR system. But if you've transferred to another college, from another college, let's say you went to a school in California and then you transferred to Kapi'olani Community College, then at that point, we would need the non-system UH transcript to be sent to us. But the good thing is that because we are a part of the UH system, all of the admissions offices have agreed that if a student has submitted an official transcript to any UH admissions office, it is deemed official and we can share it. So what you would do is if you sent that California school transcript to KCC and they have it and they deemed it official, you can actually request KCC to submit a copy of that straight to our admissions office, and we would deem that as official. So what does that mean for the student is that they're not paying another transcript fee from that California school. So we can share it within the UH system. You just have to request it to be sent to our office. And so we do file drop transcripts between all the different campuses. So similar with us, students will ask us to have their transcripts sent to another UH system campus, and we do that. So that's the one good thing if you are transferring within a UH system school, is that we can pull the STAR, and if not, you can actually have those unofficial, those official transcripts from a non-UH system transferred to our office too.
Okay, thanks. Now, I know we've gotten questions in particular for those who are high school students who are doing like the dual enrollment type classes. Say, for example, if their community college classes are listed on their high school transcript, would they need to submit their their dual enrollment college transcript as well?
Yes, so we cannot do any official transfer evaluation for any college work if it shows up on another college transcript or on your high school. We need all transcripts to come officially from the college that you took the courses at.
Perfect. And then if students have passed AP classes, can they use those credits for the minimum 24 credits, or does it have to be true college courses that they've taken?
Yeah, so the 24 credits that we're looking for to be considered a transfer student has to actually be done at a college and a college courses, and they have to be taken for a grade. So we have a lot of students that have like 24 AP credits. That won't count. We have students who are taking credit, no credit at a college. That won't count. It has to be 24 transferable credits with a letter grade.
Great, thank you so much. So kind of transferring in our changing subjects a little bit more into like for those students who are going to be returning to UH Manoa, do they need to provide a transcript if they're a returning student?
If they are returning, and the terminology for returning means that you left UH Manoa and did not attend anywhere else, then no. you would just submit another application to us for that term that you're trying to apply for. We do have all your information from whenever you came. The only time we may request you to send transcripts again is if you attended really long time ago and we no longer have that transcript on file. But we'll let you know. Again, that's how we would send that LAC letter, letting you know we need something to make your application complete. But for most students, if they're returning back to UH after a semester, year, or even 2 years away from UH and they haven't attended any other college after that, just an application will do, because we do have everything else still left on file.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest question we often get is students who were attending UH Manoa, took a semester off, but didn't request for that leave of absence. And then they go back into their SAR system right at registration time and they're like, wait, why is it not working? So if you guys know, if you're in that situation where you did take a semester off and you did not let us know ahead of time, or you applied, say in fall 2020, but then didn't take classes, or even say if you applied for spring 2021 and are not taking classes, you will need to technically reapply for the future semesters. Your application is only good for the semester that it is. But say if you're a current student and you're still continuing to take classes, you know, obviously you're good in that situation, but just really keep that in mind for returning students. Also for returning students, I have a question that asks, do I need to provide SAT or ACT scores if I'm a former UH Manoa student?
No, so again, returning students fall in kind of two categories. You're returning back to UH. Again, you haven't taken any classes when you left us. If you left us in good standing, then pretty much you're gonna be good to go. We'll just work on your application, make sure everything is okay. The ones that we worry about are the ones that are returning back from academic action. So people who left Manoa on suspension, dismissal, or probation, what we do is just kind of relook at your application. But we would never ask for you to submit any other documents that we didn't require when we first accepted you. So if we already accepted you and you're a returning student, we should have those information on file. If we didn't ask for SAT or ACT at that time, we usually won't ask for that again when you're trying to come back as a returning student.
Perfect. And I know I kind of talking back about the application in general. I know I get so many students who are really nervous. They sometimes they have a 3.5 or even higher at their current college. They have 60 units or approximately 2 years. Is it one of those things that they're guaranteed in, or is it more of a matter of that's the biggest question is they always ask, do I need to submit letters of rec? Do I need to submit personal statements? What do I need, or am I good?
So the great thing about the way our admissions works is, like I said, we have guaranteed admission. So for us as admissions officers and the people who review the files, we are just looking for the 24 credits and the 2.0 or 2.5 GPA. The other good thing about our admissions process is that you're not competing for a spot. So as many other institutions that are limited on the amount of students that they can accept, right now Manoa is not bound by that. And so they have said that we can accept every single student that meets the requirement. And so what that means for all our freshmen and transfer students is that you are not competing for a seat. You're not competing against another applicant. You're just competing to make sure that you as an individual meets the admission requirements. And so, yeah, you don't have to worry about the other student who has a 4.0 transfer GPA or anything like that. If you meet the requirements that we have, you're going to get accepted. The other thing that we do for transfer students is we try to give you the best opportunity to get accepted. And so what that means is that we all know that transfer students may take courses again and again. And so what we do is that when we look at all the courses that you've taken at one institution and compare it if you've taken it at multiple institutions. So for example, let's say you've gone to 2 institutions and you took the equivalent of English 100 at one and got a C. But then you took it again at another institution and got an A, and it was still equivalent to our English 100. What we do is when we try to figure out that cumulative transfer GPA, we give you the best shot. We don't average the C and the A. We actually only count the A when we calculate your GPA. And then in addition, when we transfer your credits, we only consider the A1. And so we're always trying to give the student the best opportunity to get accepted. So again, whenever you're taking courses over or repeat them even across institutions, we're only going to count the higher grade in the calculation and we'll only transfer the higher grade. Another thing to note is that we do not transfer GPAs into UH Manoa. We only transfer your credits. So the GPA that our office calculates is purely used for admission purposes to get into Manoa and or is used by the departments if you're going into a select program. After that, when we do official transfer credit evaluation and send you your information saying, hey, these are the credits that are going to transfer, you're going to notice on your STAR report that there is no GPA, only credits. So what that means is that for most of you, we'll actually be starting kind of like brand new at UH Manoa, meaning you could theoretically graduate with a 4.0 GPA. So it's kind of the way our office works. I'm not too sure how other institutions do it, but yes, we try to give you the best shot to get accepted to UH.
And I know you kind of already talked about this, of course, but kind of just reiterating, I know a lot of my California students or even my Midwest students, they get confused of, do I have to have my associates to transfer? What if I'm on my last class, or do I need to complete it, or am I okay with just truly the 24 units?
Yeah, so you know, we get a lot of students. California is our largest out-of-state center for both freshmen and transfers. And I do a lot of recruitment in California. And so a lot of the questions is always with that in mind, they're thinking about going to a CSU or UC, and they're kind of used to that train of thought. So I do get the questions like, do I have to finish my IGETC? Do I'm part of a AAT program? Is that going to count? Again, we're not looking for any of that, not even for our UH system kids. Again, it's just 24 credits, and it doesn't even have to be 24 transferable credits of English, a math, a science. It's just 24 transferable credits. So yeah, having it completed does not either boost your chances of getting accepted or lessen your chances. We're only looking strictly for the 24 transferable credits. What it does do is that when our office accepts you, let's say you do have finished your IGETC or close to getting an AAT, what our office does is we do a course by course evaluation. So we do not recognize like IGETC as a package, whereas California, they would. We actually do a course by course. So IGETC maybe is like 90 something credits. We transfer those courses course by course. So when you get your transfer credit evaluation, you'll see every course that you've taken. We'll see how they transfer to UH Manoa. At that point, the academic advisors have the power to decide which of those courses go towards your general education requirements, which ones go towards your major, and which ones are counted as electives. And so coming in with more courses can help you with just as expediting your graduation to graduation, but you do not need to have that completed. No AA needs to be completed in order to transfer to UH Manoa.
And then also, like, speaking of classes, like, I know, of course, the grades don't transfer over to us necessarily, but say if the class was pass, no pass, because as we know, spring 2020, a lot of those classes became that. Does that affect the GPA when they're applying any of that type style, especially with the departments?
Yeah, so we're not sure what the departments are looking for because it's really up to them. We don't oversee how they review applications. As far as front door admissions, what our office has done is kind of reevaluated how we look at credit, no credit, or pass, no fail. So we kind of take that into consideration. So we've been a little bit more lenient in terms of looking at a GPA as far as when we see pass, no pass, or fail, or credit, no credit. Again, because we're not really calculating a GPA that we're going to bring over, the admissions committee will just take a look at what is the GPA that we can calculate and then see what are the courses that you have. I mean, generally, the rule has always been a course that's a pass is usually considered a C, but we still aren't really converting that because it's not fair to every student because every college is treating it very differently. So from the admissions standpoint, we look at everything else that we can calculate, and then we'll look at, does it even matter? You know, because a lot of times students have taken courses for 2 semesters or 2 years, and even if we count the P's as C's, it really doesn't affect their GPA. They're still above a 2.5. So, you know, for a lot of times, it's not even a factor for us. But just to let you know that if you are close to that 2.5 or 2.0 GPA, it will be an admissions committee to consider how we look at pass, no pass, or credit, no credit classes in this COVID times. But just know that we are kind of sensitive to that, and that we know that that is a little bit more happening now, and so we are a little bit lenient when we do see those kinds of grades for courses.
Thanks. Now, kind of going into a little bit more about the specific departments, because I know that's a big question, is like, for example, nursing. Sometimes our transfer students will apply to the UH Manoa by January 5th, no problem, but they didn't know that there was an extra supplemental document they needed, or supplemental application they needed to provide. So how do they know exactly which departments ask for a little bit more extra requirements, and how do they know if they're good to go?
Yeah, so again, one of the things as I mentioned in the beginning, is when you're exploring UH Manoa, go directly to the major that you're interested in. Check out their website, check out what are the requirements. If they have special requirements, if they have special prerequisites that you need to fulfill in order to get into their college. And then kind of use our database to see, have I fulfilled those prerequisites? Am I on the right track? In addition, we do have besides the transfer credit website, we do have a website called Program Sheets. So if you go to our UH Manoa website and actually type in Program Sheets, we list every single major that UH has. And so on that website, you click on the major that you're interested in. So if you're, let's say, interested in accounting, you click on it. It'll actually list on that sheet all the prerequisites, all the gen ed requirements, all the major requirements. In addition, on that sheet, it'll tell you if it's a selective program, if they have a separate application, if they have a separate process, a separate GPA that is required to get in. And at the very bottom of that sheet, it actually lists for you the direct contact for that department and the academic advisor. So that's another good place to just kind of get an overview of what is this major about, what are the kind of courses I need, who should I contact, and what are any other additional documents, things I need to do in order to get into that program.
Okay. And I know we have a question about the ELI, and we have our international students are wondering, what is the future plans of the ELI placement exam, especially in the situation that it's not really being offered right now, and what's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, the best thing is that you contact our ELI department. They actually have changed their process because there is no ELI in-person exams during this time. I think what they're doing is they're just working directly with the students to either place them in the appropriate ELI based on the conversations and emails that they talk with that student. And so if you have been accepted to UH Manoa and have been placed in ELI, the best people to contact is the ELI department to work with them to see what are the ELI classes that you need to take, or maybe get exempt from it, and just work with them so that they you know what you should be taking in the fall.
Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and go into a little bit more about residency, and then we'll fully dive into those transfer credit questions. I know we've got a lot of transfer credit questions, so don't worry. Please be patient with us. We will get to that section shortly. So, Garrett, would you mind kind of talking a little bit more about the residency, the three categories, and how they would qualify for what the difference is between the three categories?
Okay, so resident is basically a resident of Hawaii, and I'll go a little bit more about that. Non-resident is any student who's not a resident of Hawaii, coming from any of the other 49 states. But then we do have WUI, and WUI is basically an opportunity for any student part of the Western states. We have an agreement with all the Western states to say that if a student is coming from Washington, Oregon, California, and they're a bona fide resident of that state, then we're allowed as an institution to give them a discounted rate, which is our calculation, 150% of the resident tuition. And so a lot of schools are part of the WUI agreement in all the different states, but every school works it differently. Some work it as a scholarship, some only are allowed so many students per state. For Manoa, again, like I said, because we're not at max capacity, we're allowed to offer WUI to any student from that state, regardless of major, as long as they're admissible to UH Manoa. So when we accept a student for freshman or transfer status, and we see on your application that you've answered the questions, we can see that you're from a Hawai'i state, your mailing address is a Hawai'i state. There's a box there that says, yes, I want to participate in the Hawai'i program. If you click yes, we automatically make you Hawai'i. So at the point of accept, you automatically start getting the discount. The discount is applied to you the entire time that you are at UH. There is no time limit in terms of only given to you for 4 years or 3 semesters or whatever. It's forever as long as you stay at UH Manoa until you graduate. The good thing about it is it's not treated as a scholarship. It is a tuition reduction program. And so what that means is that that becomes your base tuition, and then you can still apply for financial aid and scholarships to then make that cost even lower. So we do have a lot of Hawai'i students that are paying close to resident tuition because they got the Hawai'i tuition and now they're getting scholarships and financial aid, and their cost goes down even lower. For residents, if you're trying to become a Hawaii resident and you're coming from another state, it is very difficult to try to do it. And just kind of in a nutshell, I don't want to go over all the logistics. If you are thinking this is the route you want to go, you do want to contact our office and ask to speak to a residency officer, because they'll list for you what are the things you need to do and the time you need to do it. But in a nutshell, we're looking for at least 1 year of physical presence in the state of Hawaii. So the clock does not start the minute you get off the plane. The clock starts when you show an overt action that you're trying to be a Hawaii resident, purely not for tuition purposes. So things like getting a job, getting an apartment, things like that. Those are things that can start your clock. The other thing is during that 1 year that you're trying to establish residency, you cannot be taking more than 6 credits at UH Manoa. You have to take less than half time, because if every student was doing that, every non-resident student would become a resident in 1 year. And so you cannot be a full-time student while trying to establish residency. So what we tell most students who, especially coming from a Hawai'i state, just do Hawai'i for your undergraduate. If Hawaii is the place that you want to be after you graduate and you want to go to graduate school, then work for a year after you get your undergraduate. Then by that time, when you apply for graduate school, you could most likely be considered a resident after that 1 year. But Hawai'i is the best deal. If you can get Hawai'i, just stick with that and stay with that until you graduate.
Yeah, I could not agree more, especially trying to become a resident back in, some of those mainland states is a whole nother game. It's very complicated. Taxes are very expensive. Another thing to point out too with residency, without going exactly what Garrett was saying, not going too much into detail, is just the fact that it is going to be going off of taxes pretty frequently. So especially if you're a dependent of your parents and they're living in a different state and paying income taxes in that state, then that would, count against you. So you would have to file your own taxes. Just something to think about. But you guys, of course, can go ahead and check the chat. I went ahead and posted the links of the different residencies and also the non-resident tuition exemptions. And also, if you guys have questions, I know we have some students who have very specific residency questions. Go ahead and fill out that residency inquiry request form. That way, one of our official residency officers will be able to take a look at your situation and be able to talk with you one-on-one about that situation and exactly what it is. Just because there's no exact same pathway. Everyone is a little bit different on how their pathway is with residency. So we don't want you to be like, oh, well, Amber said this. There's a lot more details than what we're just saying right now. So definitely be sure to inquire with them and check out those websites. So now the moment you guys have all been waiting for, of course, is those transfer credit evaluations. This is definitely the big question that we always get. Basically, I know we get different questions like, what is the process like? How long does it take? What about AP credits? All of that. So Garrett, do you mind kind of explaining I know you kind of mentioned it earlier with the credits, but basically once a student is accepted, what is the process of getting their transfer credits evaluated?
So once we send out the accept email, we verify that do we have all the transcripts that are official. If it is yes, we then actually move your application over to the transfer credit section in our office, and then they'll initiate a transfer credit evaluation. So what they do is they look in our database to see, has this student taking courses that we already have familiarity with, and then we'll push that into your academic history. A lot of times there are courses, and especially with the sciences, math, those are a lot of courses that our office cannot make that determination, and it's made at the department level. So what we do is that we actually get the course descriptions for that course. We actually have access to every single course catalog in the whole world for all the different colleges. And so what we actually is, we actually bundle the information for the departments. We send them the courses that you have taken and that we're trying to transfer in, and we send with them the course description from your institution's course catalog. They will then make a decision and send that information back to our office, and then we put that into our transfer database system. It helps the next student transferring from your college with that same course, but then we'll also put it into your academic history. Oftentimes it can take long because once it leaves our office, we have no control. Every department works differently. Every department reviews differently. And so we're kind of at the mercy of the departments of when they're going to review it and who reviews it. But we try our best to make the determination in-house. So that's why we try to at least build this database as big and as robust as possible so we don't have to send it out to the department. The other scenario could be is that if you're coming from a foreign institution or an institution that we have no idea or we don't offer that class at our institution, we may need a little bit more detail from you. So in the course, in the transfer credit evaluation, when we send you an email saying that it's done or we need more information from you, we'll let you know that we may need a course syllabi. And again, this happens a lot for science courses because a lot of the science courses are very vague in general as far as the course description. So our departments will want to see, well, what was that student learning in that class? And so at that point, we'll say that the department is requesting a course syllabi, and then we'll convey that information to you saying, hey, do you have a course syllabi for this course? So for all of you, it's very important to try to keep a record and copies of all your course syllabi for all the courses you've taken, because at some point we may need it in order to start giving you transfer credits if it's requested from the departments. If you don't have it, then we just tell students to go back to the professor or instructor that they took it from, because they should hopefully have it on their file or record for you to give you a copy. But that in a nutshell is kind of how it works. Once we're done, we do send you an email from the transfer credit section on how to view your transfer credits. And that's when you can also work with your academic advisors because they can start seeing some of those credits transferred into your academic plan to help you plan out what courses you should be registering for in the next semester.
Perfect, thank you. Now, I always get a lot of students who will ask me, like, say, for example, one of our transfer credit evaluation specialists will email the student, but sometimes they tend to miss that email. And they're wondering how exactly they check for their transfer credits once they've been told they've received it and it's done.
So yeah, in that email that our transfer credit sends to the student, it actually gives them step-by-step directions on how to view your transfer evaluation. So if you misplaced that email, it got into spam, or you deleted it for whatever reason, again, like Amber said, you can always call our office or email our office to always check on the status. So if you know you've been accepted and you're waiting for a transfer evaluation, just kind of ping our office and we can say, hey, it's in this, it's currently at a transfer evaluator, or we can tell you, hey, we're not doing it right now because we don't have your official transcripts. So please submit that. We can tell you if something has been out to the department, things like that. So always just be on top of it and check the status of your application and or transfer credit evaluation. We can always tell you where things are, where in the pipeline is, check on your status at any time. So just kind of be vigilant yourself and kind of keep on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't tell you, I mean, you've had more situations than I have, I'm sure, but there's been so many times where all of a sudden the student will email us the week before school starts, and then they're like, oh, where's my transfer credit evaluation? And they applied 6 months ago, and we told them 4 months ago that we needed their transcript, and they never responded. That happens quite frequently. So yeah, by all means, please stay on top of it. We want you guys to succeed desperately. So definitely, as long as you guys are on it, you'll do well. So what is the maximum number of credits that are allowed to be transferred over?
So again, our office doesn't make that determination. That'll be done at the advisor. So like I said, I've been doing this almost 17 years. I've seen people with 150 transfer credits. They should have graduated several years ago. Our office will transfer in all the ones that we can, but it's really going to be up to the department to determine how much of that, let's say 150 do transfer in, how much of that actually will go towards your degree. So it's really up to the department. The general rule has usually been 60, just because in order to graduate with a Manoa degree, and this is actually the same rule that most universities follow, is that in order to graduate from a university with their degree, you have to have so much percentage of your degree done at your institution. So for us, generally, I think it's about 36 or more credits have to be done at Manoa. So that's where the advisors will look at all the transfer courses that you've gotten, apply them to where they need so that they still, you still have enough credits at Manoa to get that Manoa degree. But from our office standpoint, we transfer in everything that we can and then leave it up to the advisors to work with you to determine which ones will be applicable to the degree.
Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing is a lot of these questions are asking basically, how to find their transfer credits, how do they talk to somebody about it, all of that. So do you mind talking just a tiny bit about the transfer credit evaluation and then what the responsibilities would be of the academic advisor post TCE evaluation?
Yeah, so when we do a transfer credit evaluation, when we tell you how to look it in STAR, we'll tell you exactly which buttons to click and how to view it. There's several ways to view your transfer evaluation. You can view it based by the years that you took it in chronological order, or you can view it by institution and separated by each institution. You'll notice that we put in your transfer credit evaluation every single course you've taken, even the non-transferable courses. And the reason why we do that is because we used to get a lot of questions like a long time ago, like saying, hey, how come you didn't transfer this course? Well, it's because it's not transferable. So to stop that kind of a talk and a dialogue with students, we actually just put all the courses you've taken into your transfer evaluation, and then you'll see in the transfer evaluation if the course is transferable or not. So just kind of a visual, you'll see all the courses you've taken. It'll have the course credit that was at your current institution. It'll actually list your the institution that you took it at. It'll list the grade that you got at the institution. And on the other half of the transfer credit evaluation, you'll see what is the course equivalent at UH Manoa, or what is the transfer that we're giving it to you, what credits, how much credits we're giving it to you, and if it fulfills any of the requirements, any of the gen ed requirements. So there'll be like acronyms or abbreviations for what it's fulfilling. We do provide you in the transfer credit evaluation a key with what are those abbreviations and what they mean. And then it'll also list on the transfer credit evaluation, it'll actually say out to department, if a course is out to department. It'll also list course syllabi needed, so that you also will know that if we need a course for that, a course syllabi for that specific course. What the advisors can then do is look at what is there and see what is the transfer, what we've transferred over at UH Manoa, and then they can start plugging it into your degree. And so working with the transfer credit database, working with your transfer evaluation in STAR, and also working with that program sheets that we mentioned about all the different majors, that's kind of, those kind of things help go kind of hand in hand to see checking off the boxes of what you've done and what you still need to do. STAR also has a what if journey and academic journey. And so based on the major that you put onto your application, it'll kind of pre-fill the courses that we transferred into your current Manoa academic degree, but it also allows you to play with scenarios. So let's say you're thinking about biology, your transfer credits will show you this is what it looks like to get a biology degree, but you're like, maybe I want chemistry. There's a what if journey, so it actually allows you to change your major, not officially, but just change it, and then it'll then push all your transfer credits into that scenario, so you can kind of play with it and see, maybe if I change my major, I could actually graduate in a little bit less time. So it gives you those options within our STAR system to do that. But then again, STAR will never replace the actual physical academic advisors. STAR is only limited by certain things that it can do, the advisor will have, we always call it the magic pen. They can actually move things around and do things for you to make it work in the best scenario. Again, our advisors are trying their best to help you get out and succeed as fast as possible and get you the degree that you're trying to get to. So talking with an advisor after you get a transfer credit evaluation will be the best step to do once you get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And then do you mind just talking about, for those students who haven't already been accepted, or for example, are currently taking some spring classes at their current college, how exactly do they tell if their current classes or previous classes have transferred? I know I get, for example, a lot of class of 2022, or like those students who are trying to transfer for fall 2022 are asking me exactly what transfers, and can't officially say just yet. So what's your best advice for them?
Yeah, so we have right now we have a lot of students that we accepted for fall 2021. And if you're coming from, let's say, a school in the Pacific Northwest, where a lot of schools are quarter-based, they're still taking courses that are winter. They haven't registered for spring classes. They want to know, okay, what kind of courses should I still register for that will easily transfer? That's why we just tell them to use the transfer credit database. So go to the transfer credit database, look at the courses that will easily transfer from your university and then or college, and then see, okay, that's the courses that I should be taking, because I can already see that if I take them, they're going to transfer to UH Manoa. If you're still a prospective student, again, using the transfer credit database is going to be the best option for you to kind of get a heads up on what are the courses that could transfer to UH Manoa.
Okay, thanks. And for those who are wondering, I did put links in the chat for the transfer credit evaluation. That is going to be our transfer credit database, as well as the how the credits for AP exams and IB exams transfer. Also, I put links on how to access your academic advisor and also the Manoa Advising Center. So I'm just going to quickly rapid fire some of these questions. I'm just going to roll through them real fast. So the biggest thing to think about is if you guys, I know there's so many exact specific questions for academic advising. Say, for example, what classes should I take? What major do I choose? Or what major am I? Am I fully accepted into the major? I mean, well, we can help you with that side of it, but anything that has to relate to what classes do I take? How does this class, like now that I have my transfer credit evaluation, how does that work in my plan? Am I an upperclassman? Am I a lower class, like, sophomore standing? When can I graduate? When do I register for classes? All of those questions are going to be specifically with your academic advisor. So I can't stress that enough. I think most of my virtual appointments that I've been doing have all been transfer students asking for what classes they need to take. And unfortunately, I wish I could help you and all of our rest of our admissions teams. We wish we could be one-stop shop, but we're unfortunately not. So you will need to go speak to your academic advisor. They are by far the most amazing. They're experts on the knowledge, so they will know all the up-to-date information, especially if you're wanting to know what a specific program is like. Definitely reach out to the academic advisors for that as well, just because they know all the details. They can let you know what kind of internships their students typically get, all of that. So just a reminder of some of the details for those students who have already been accepted. So the intent to enroll deadline is coming up on this May 1st. So you still have a few months, we're still a few months out from that. You do need to pay the enrollment fee by that May 1st deadline as well, which is $200. That is a non-refundable fee. So just please note, don't go ahead and submit that intent to enroll until you know you're 100% sure that you want to come to Manoa for this fall. Class registration for new incoming students will be the last week of May, give or take on the exact day. We will have more information for that come April, where you can find it on your STAR GPS system. It'll go ahead and list that date for you. Orientation information and all of that will come out later in this spring. Later this spring, we'll go ahead and announce it. I know there's been tons of questions about scholarships and housing and student life and all of that as well. We will do our best to go ahead and take some of these questions and combine them with our prospective and accepted Q&As that we've been getting. We have been doing this every single week, so we'll kind of combine those questions. I will reference you guys all to go ahead and take a look back on either our accepted Q&As or our prospective Q&As, just because we have covered a lot of these questions. We want to make sure you still get your questions answered. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the Q&A, one of our YouTube videos for the accepted student Q&A. That will go ahead and take you to the YouTube channel of all of our Warrior webinars that we've had from this spring. So definitely be sure to reference back to that for any questions. There's a lot of really great questions we've gotten over the past couple months. And then also I'm going to go ahead and post that new Warrior checklist for those students who have been accepted and are wondering those exact deadlines and the exact links of how you can take those next steps. That will let you know about tuition, the scholarships that you can apply for. I know we have our STAR scholarships deadlines coming up on the 15th, as well as UH system scholarships. For more information on that, definitely check out that new Warrior checklist. And also, I want to go ahead and let you guys know too, just a reminder, we do have a wonderful Discord page. I know a lot of students, we tried doing a Facebook page for a while, wasn't so popular. So now we have a Discord page. So if you are even if you're prospective, or if you're an accepted student, or if you've applied, definitely be sure to go ahead and join that Discord page. We get a lot of really great questions that we will answer on there as well. You can meet other accepted students or prospective students as well. And we encourage you guys to go ahead and select your role in the Discord. That way we know exactly what type of student you are when we're answering those questions. And of course, just kind of one last wrap-up question, kind of more of a fun question for you, Garrett. What is your personal favorite thing about Manoa?
Wow.
To put you on the spot.
Yeah, I probably have a very different perspective because I am a two-time graduate of UH, so I did get a bachelor's and master's from UH, and I've never, if you think about it, I've never left UH since the time I set foot as a freshman. So I've been there for a while, graduated a long time ago, probably before some of these students thinking about were maybe even born. But I think one of the best things about Manoa, and I know it's cliche and everyone says it, it's the diversity. It's just, I've met people from all over the world, and not just the country, just all over the world, dealing with all the programs that I've been in from undergrad to graduate. Just learning from different perspectives and different people. It is a real melting pot. Being in the middle of the Pacific is great because not only do we have access to opportunities across the US, but also Asia and across the world. So to me, that's kind of like one of the best things. It is home for me, so I have a little bit more slanted view on it, but it is the diversity. And then the one regret I do have as an undergrad, and I put it on everyone else that they should take advantage of, is just a countless amount of programs and services. I mean, I got involved with clubs and organizations really late because at that point you're thinking about, I need to beef up my resume or things like that. But a lot of the things I really wish I had started from freshman, sophomore, even beginning of the junior year, because there's some great programs and things have evolved. Let me tell you, back then, it's not as evolved as it is now. So I really wish I did things like study abroad or national student exchange to get a little bit more world perspective and stuff. So take advantage as a UH student of all the opportunities that we have on campus and just get involved and make the most of your time here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could not agree more. Especially in a COVID world that we have today where everything has now become virtual. We're still living here in Hawaii and we get a chance to experience the beauty of it, but then also just the community itself with the students and the staff are just some of the friendliest people you'll meet pretty much in the world, I'd say. Personal opinion, but it's a really great place to go ahead and learn, of course, live as well. But yeah, great. Thanks so much, Garrett. We appreciate all your great insight and knowledge on transfers. Because it's a lot of extra information. So we appreciate you explaining a little bit about that. And thank you all for those who attended here today. We will be sending out a survey after this, after the webinar. So definitely keep an eye out for that, as well as with a recording to this webinar. And definitely be sure to contact us if you guys have any questions. But you can contact us via virtual front desk, one-on-one appointments, emails, you name it. We pretty much will meet you in that way. Of course, don't forget to join the Discord group as well. And we'll see you guys next time. Aloha.
Thank you.